So, let's switch to the economy a little bit. You have spoken on your podcast about how, money is fake and you talk about the monetary system. But one of the things you also mentioned is you're not a fan of MMT,
Hmm.
which I thought was a little fascinating because sometimes when you speak about money, you kind of sound like some of the MMT
Sure.
scholars I have listened to, and then you
I
go,
think
well, but I'm not a fan of MMT. So can you kind of unpack that some for me?
well, so MMT is it's a perspective, it's an interpretation of the financial system, first of all. When I say I'm not, excuse me, I say I disagree with it, I don't disagree with the theory per se. I disagree with what people are trying to do in terms of policy. I think it's just a very weak thing to approach to say, well, yeah, governments can make infinite, strong, big governments can make infinite amount of money to solve their problems. Well, think about how preposterous that is from a fundamentally um, uh, it's a self contradiction. I can't think of the word to describe it. It's like we're willing to accept the ultimate contradiction of the market economy by saying, well, since governments can make money out of nothing, which is preposterous and not the solution, let's just do that and have infinite debt. The contradiction of the debt creation, the fact that you can have a permanent deficit in a government and somehow that's a good thing, is to me ridiculous because it's saying that the system is fundamentally an illusion. So if you recognize that, then why not go a deeper length? Why not make actual projects that can remove effectively the money in use? Because that's what I support. I think MMT as a theory, and the guys that have talked about it has a great internal logic. It's very fascinating the way people think about it and talk about inflation, the reversal of it. I think the guy Mosler, he's talked in great eloquence about the issue, but I just find it to be an intellectual exercise. I don't see how they can put it into practice. I mean, I've seen people make these activist lists. They say, well, we do this and then that and then that and that and that. Then we have the first world have a constant running deficit, so we can use this money to do this, this, and this. And what they don't realize, they're just suggesting a policy that has to be approved by somebody in some government. And who's going to approve something like that? I'm against that kind of policy orientation. I'm not saying that policy shouldn't be put into practice. We should try our best to solve problems with whatever mechanism possible in the government that we exist in, but that can't be what we depend on at this stage. It's just undependable. So does that make sense? I appreciate the theory and approach. I understand money is fake. I understand that, yeah, if the United States wanted to solve all homelessness and poverty, they could run the printing presses and do it. Yeah, they could do it right now, but they choose not to. And they justify it by the internal logic of the household economy, even though they can do otherwise. But your household economy means you actually save, you actually control your debt, you do things in the traditional logic of a conservative economic to economize, as it were. So I find it preposterous as a policy suggestion, but I think the theory illuminates something that's very important, and that's the fact that it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Money has no relationship to anything. If you wanted to have a true market economy, the money would have to have a value directly determined by the goods and services and resources of the planet. There would have to be an equation where the amount of money produced had to actually mirror the value inherent to the earth. And you could do that, but no one's doing that. It's nonsense. Even go back to gold standard. You got these Ron Paul people still out there. They don't seem to realize that no one actually used the scarcity of gold in any actual mathematical way. It was, again, just an illusion. Okay, it's a precious metal for whatever reason, and it seems to be in finite supply, so we base it on it. Still has no relationship to the Earth's resources, has no relationship to the power of humanity to do work. So this term resource-based economy is something I've talked about for years, and what it means that you have to have an economy that's rooted actually in the valuation of the planet and its capacity, in its limitations simultaneously in terms of sustainability. So I hope that helps explain why.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and